everybody, welcome to something a little different. I've been thinking a lot about pitching lately in baseball, and I just kind of want to get my thoughts out there and have it kind of sit somewhere that I can look back and see if there's any weight to what I'm thinking. To give you a little lowdown on how pitching works, because I guess not everybody understands how pitching works, because I met somebody who thought just the way you like hold a ball, like your grip, and you just throw it like how you throw anything else is like how just the pitches move, which isn't true. Your shoulder, your elbow, your like hand, how you pronate it, how you're twisting and turning everything, that kind of determines ball movement more than just how you're kind of holding the ball. How you hold the ball is more just, I guess, an optimized way of getting movement out of it. Kind of a list of things that go into how someone pitches. It's, their mechanics, how they're pitching, arm slot, how they're holding the ball, arm movement, arm speed, I guess would be more appropriate. Arm slot can affect how a pitch moves. You have someone like Clayton Kershaw who throws over the top. That's his arm slot, which is more like the 12 o'clock, closer to the 12 o'clock position than like anything else. And then you have three quarters, which can then split off into high or low. And then you have sidearm and then submarine, which is sidearm. Submarine's like kind of like you're like pitching like a softball. The arm slot is important, especially for, how the pitch comes out of your hand. Say someone throws over the top and they're throwing a curveball. That curveball is going to be moving kind of more like a 12 to 6 type movement. Whereas someone throwing from the three quarters, which would be like around up here, they're getting more of like from a righty, it's probably going like 2 to 7, I want to say. 2 to 7, 2 to 8, something like that kind of movement. But that's kind of that's not really what I wanted to be focusing on when I think about pitching. What I think more, it matters, but not I'm taking everything into consideration when I'm thinking about pitching. I'm more interested in what size, height, and weight do to a pitch, how that affects how a pitcher throws a ball. Because you have someone like Marcus Stroman who's 5'8", like he's the size of a normal, like an average person, and he's a starting pitcher, which is weird because you don't really want undersized pitchers because they might be driving the ball more and more prone to like hip injury rather than like an arm or shoulder injury. Kind of like what happened with Tim Lincecum. That's one of the issues he had. He was undersized for a pitcher, so he drove more from his hips, and he ended up getting hip surgery. And now he's a free agent attempting a comeback. Stride to home plate is also important. It's kind of, when I mean stride is like, here's someone pitching and like, here's their feet when the the landing foot lands. And so usually it's kind of just like a basic, like a little bit more than a step. It's like, someone did the math. It was like 95%, like it was like almost like full extension. It was like 100% is full extension, and I was like, there are some pitchers that like do like 105% of more than how they should be. Like I think it was Kenley Jensen who was like throwing like his stride was a little longer than it should have been, but I don't know how much that affects like his spin and his velocity. I do want to note again, just because it brings up a bigger point. Grip doesn't matter too much in terms of how the ball is moving, I want to say. Maybe that's not entirely true. Maybe it's 100% true. Chris Hatcher had a little issue last year where his slider and his fastball were kind of close in velocity. And pretty much how you throw a slider, more or less. I don't know how like 100 I am on this, but to throw a slider, you pretty much hold a ball like this. What the pitching coach for the Dodgers did was pretty much show Chris Hatcher throw the ball like a curveball, which would be more along the lines of this, with the index finger out so you can get over the top. And so it slowed down his curveball. It was able to get a noticeable difference in velocity, which helped a lot in this when he came back off the disabled list. The most important will always be mechanics of a pitcher, and that's also the most volatile part of being a pitcher, because if you have bad mechanics, it might lead to you injuring yourself more. That's why people are afraid. That's why they didn't want Chris Sale to be a starter, because the way he pitched was so wonky. It was like, there's no way he can pitch every 5 days, like 6-7 innings pitching like that. Same reason with like Alex Wood. And then like there are some like just bad tendencies pitchers have, but mechanics are important just for velocity and movement. Also, I mean, the pitcher's comfortable throwing that way. The most recent and the most like visually difference I've seen, which has been noted on Fangraphs from Jeff Sullivan a couple times, or Dave Cameron. Alex Wood, last year, his velocity was at an all-time low, and his vertical movement was also there wasn't as much as he had in previous years. What was the difference between last year and this year? Well, he was pitching through injury last year, so he was trying to tweak everything to make sure he wasn't hurting. Now that he isn't like hurting in his foot, he's able to restart and kind of retune his mechanics from what they were before. And now what you're seeing is Alex Wood is throwing more of a high 3/4 slot, and his velocity is back to his rookie year, and his pitches are I don't know, I'm not 200% on the vertical movement of the pitches, but they're in line with pre-last. What does all this like kind of just random thoughts and process I'm going through, what this all kind of means is that I'm wondering if there's a way to optimize a pitch selection, a pitcher set of what they throw based on height, weight, how they're just throwing the ball, and grips on and where they're holding the ball and how deep it is in their hands and all that. And if that, I don't want to say it could lead to healthier pitchers, because that's just a totally different beast. It could not, and could lead to them getting hurt more frequently. But what it does lead to is if you get more effective pitchers out of it. If, say, you have someone who can't throw a changeup. Clayton Kershaw, the best generational pitcher, can't throw a changeup. And which is weird, because you hear people say left-handers have natural changeups. For all I know, I could probably have a better changeup than Clayton Kershaw. Probably the grip and his arm slot aren't ideal. Just like how he throws isn't ideal. Maybe he should just try throwing the palm ball as a changeup, and maybe that'll work better. Who knows? It's just, if the more information you have, and there's places like there's so much information that to the public, to me as just a regular guy watching, I don't have access to. So there's no way for me to look into it. That'll do it for whatever this was. If you want to educate yourself on baseball more, like not pitching, just about anything else, there are a ton of super great websites you can write multiple daily articles every day, and they're super insightful, and it'll open your mind to the game and understanding why teams do the things they do. And by that I mean, if you're a Dodger fan and you don't understand why the front office sucks dicks, they don't, but you might think that, which is the opposite, which is the antithesis to what the LA Times says. Fangraphs is a super great place. It's more sabermetrics, but it's the way baseball's going, and I think it's really important to like all information's important, especially in baseball, to get that leg up. Baseball Prospectus is subscription based, but they do have some free articles you can read. His website Beyond the Box Score is really insightful for sabermetrics kind of stuff. If I continue to talk about baseball, it's going to be more of an education type thing, because there is no real stopgap. There's no not stopgap. That's right. There's no real place where you can dip your toes in. It is easy when you're getting into the sabermeasure of baseball, like all the website, it's either you're gonna it is sink or swim. You're being pushed straight into the deep end, and if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you're like, this is so fucking stupid. Why aren't there more stolen bases and batting average is important? Tune in next time when I fucking kill myself.